Hi guys, today we have Amar Krishna Jha. I've been following his insightful comments on various Facebook groups and other places. And I felt that I should connect with this guy, and glad that I have connected with him today. He has done a lot of stuff from working with big organizations, and then later on getting into agency, digital marketing agency, and later on being one of the few people who started with Google Ads in the starting stages, and then Facebook ads, and working for so much time, and then he actually gave up that agency, sold out the agency because he wanted to do something more and experiment more with marketing and all. He started, and now he is actually consulting real estate marketers. So he's a go-to guy. I can tell after talking to him, I understood that he's a go-to guy for real estate marketing. So business and his life itself is a very interesting scenario where he's an experimental person because he came out of the comfort zone where everything was set, and he came out of the comfort zone because he doesn't like things to be boring and monotonous. So he has seen a day in life when there was only 1 rupee with him, but again he actually bounced back and did a lot of stuff. So right now he is consulting real estate guys, and he's also helping people with copywriting because that is something which he believes is what makes the dollars pour in. So, Jaji, welcome to the show, Know Your Niche Marketers. This is a short session. So, would like to know about your basic education qualifications and your first job. What was it?
Thank you, Govardhanji, for this great introduction. And nobody knew till date. I think very few people knew that there was a day when I had just 1 rupee in my pocket. Now the world will know. But yeah, so I did engineering. I passed out in 2001, and my first job was with a company called Strabis Software Solution Limited in Hyderabad. I really had a great time because I joined this company before even appearing for my 8th semester. So all the money that I made was spent on you know there was few good guys left in last year engineering. You know how it happens, right? 80% nice guys, 20% bad guys, and then by 8th semester it's 80% bad guys, 20%. So I converted those 20% also into 80%, and that's where the money was spent. So it was great.
Okay.
The first job was obviously great
Okay.
experience.
Okay, the first job experience was there, and then afterwards, it's like what made you
So
think that you should change things? What happened afterwards?
yeah, so after doing this, engineering and working for 3 years, I got bored. I'm somebody who gets bored very very soon with things, especially monotonous things. As long as things are changing, I'm happy. I'm fine. So I got bored with writing, software coding and stuff like that. So I joined this MBA bandwagon. Everybody was doing, so I thought I should also do it. More money and greater challenges. I did that. Again, got into a job, and again, it was the same scene. So in 2009, actually, I started this agency. In September 12th, 2009 was the exact date when I started my agency, first agency.
Advertising agency.
Yeah, it was a typical advertising agency where we worked with companies like Fruity. We were doing advertising, not the national advertising, but there is something called regional advertising. So Eastern Zone, mein, whatever advertising they used to do, we used to work for them. All the sorting stuff, and so that is how I started.
Okay, so you that advertising agency was going on, and then I think that was the time when you had the hardship. Of course, things were also going good, and also then there were some hardships. So how could you manage to overcome those hardships? Like how was the journey, that initial entrepreneurial journey?
Uh, I think, like I told you, I shared some of the personal things, which I would like to keep between us only.
Okay, okay, no problem. Yeah.
But yeah, it was very, very tough for me. What helped me to overcome it was to sit and understand where exactly I'm going wrong. Being an entrepreneur, you are faced with so many things. You are always worried about from where you're going to get your next client, when is your invoice going to get settled and you will get this money, right? What do you do with this employee? He's not coming on time. your work is not better. So there are 3,000 things, and then there is family pressure. I was married, I had a small kid, right? So many things working. I just couldn't take it. Maybe I was not experienced enough. I didn't know how to run a business, right? Nothing about it. I just wanted to start a business, right? That's it. And that was the wrong approach.
You want to live life on your own terms, like many other people think starting a business means living life as you like, but it is not as such.
Not at
Because
all.
in job you handle one boss, and in business you handle too many.
Exactly. I mean, small things like, when you're working, you have this huge insurance cover for you and for your family. And suddenly, the moment you start, nothing, everything is gone suddenly.
Yeah.
So it was very tough. And so I just, started giving a lot of time to understand where exactly I'm going wrong. And I came out, I made a list of things. Like I was focusing more on Indian markets, where, here people uh, were like, okay, one very interesting thing, why I decided Calcutta.
Oh,
So, so what happened is Calcutta at that time was not, I mean, still it's not very professional, right? The work culture is just not, you just can't compare a Bombay work culture with Calcutta work culture. And I thought because of this, there is a huge demand. I'm sure, so many companies are there. They need professional people, people who can deliver good things at the right time. But I was wrong, so because people are used to this kind of things, they just don't want, I'm not saying everyone, but yeah,
yeah.
most of the people.
Generally, it's generally.
Yeah, generally people don't even want to pay you that much. When we used to approach them for logo designing, they used to tell me that, this printer guy just take $50. Why should I pay you 5,000 rupees also? And I was like, yeah, right. You are actually
You're
right.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that, I think I did wrong. I should have focused in international market, from day one. And that is what we did. And we started getting good money, and started getting good appreciation for our work. And slowly we, after a couple of years of hard struggle, we reached to top 3 in certain, freelancing sites. So it was then that people started approaching us instead of, you going and quoting them. And then things changed for me.
Yeah. So you got into the traditional advertising route to the online advertising route. Then you were working with Google Ads and Facebook Ads. So in Google Ads and Facebook Ads, like what kind of clients you are actually dealing with more when you are doing that? Did you
So
have any specific verticals, or you are like?
so I earlier I was working with anybody who comes in, right? All kind of businesses. Anybody who just walks in, I'm ready to take. But then later on, I realized the importance of niche, right? And I'm glad that you have this great group. Uh, and it's high time now. It's still not too late. People should get into niche as much as possible.
Yeah, they should get into niche. Many people are still not understanding, and people proudly they want to call themselves as full stack digital marketing agency.
No way. I think you should. Somebody has rightly said you should go a mile deeper than a mile wider. So go deep as much as possible. After that, I started focusing more on businesses which can give me a lot of money. I wanted money, after struggling for so much. So real estate was one, right? Real estate has a lot of money. Then financial markets, they have a lot of money. So still I have some clients in financial markets, and they pay me good money because they make good money. It's as simple
Yeah,
as that. You go
yeah.
after an educational, small coaching institute which is probably making 10 lakh or 20 lakh rupees a month. How much can they pay you?
Hmm.
That's how I start picking, all these niches. That if they have, so there are times when people also come. Some celebrities come, uh, uh, but they're not the right fit for me. I've worked with some celebrities and stuff like that,
Okay.
but they're not the right fit for me. It's mostly real estate and financial markets that I understand very well now. Why people invest in stock markets, right? Why people want to buy home actually, how much time they take, what are the objections they have, how many properties they see. I know each and everything now, having worked so deeply into this market.
Yeah. So the specific niche you got work with like is like mostly real estate and investment kind of things, financial sectors.
Financial market. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is something which you are into it, and yeah, I'm really glad that we had one niche person coming in with real estate. And because if I see the keywords, Amarji, and the keywords will be popping up are like financial, real estate, financial industry, and the copywriting is one more specific vertical which we should talk about. So, how does this copywriting thing fascinates you, and how much impact does it have? Do you think on like total marketing is concerned, or what is your take on what do you want to tell about copywriting and how serious people should take this copywriting?
If there's one thing that I could change about my professional career, I would like to start with copywriting first and then get into media buying. That's how important it is. I have spent, I don't know if it's billions, but sure, it's in millions. And there was a time when I was not able to scale up things. I just didn't know. I started taking this course, that course. So I've spent a lot of things like I really wanted to understand, is this something I'm missing on Facebook marketing? What more should I do with okay, I've done APIs, I've got this, I've got done that. What more should I do to scale my Google ads or Facebook ads? Only to realize it's you can spend the same amount of money and convert probably 10 times better if you just focus on your copy.
Yeah,
Just focus on the number of conversions you have, maybe through your sales page, maybe through your emails that you are sending. So we used to do emails, right? Got lead, email nurturing karo. But if you don't understand the psyche and you can't pursue with your words, it's a waste of money actually, right?
yeah. Human behavior is something which is very very important. You should understand that behavior.
Yeah. So and it's not so easy. You have to do a lot of research. You have to test a lot of things, right? So copywriting is probably the most important thing. If you are happy that your Facebook ads are performing great and you're making 100 sales a day, try copywriting. Maybe you'll touch 1,000 sales a day. That's the power of copywriting.
Yeah, that's very very. You told it in a very. You made the impact very clear in that two lines. Again, that's a wonderful piece of copywriting over there.
Yeah. So, so that's what it is. People are just happy and they're like, wow, what conversions I'm having, 10% conversion in e-com and they go blah, blah, blah. So many leads. Just try copywriting.
Agree with you, because copywriting is something I did not know copywriting as something which is a specific thing, but I was into content writing and all. Then afterwards in my diabetes, which I came to know about it, like how important is like you write things with empathy, and how you're able to relate things back to the person you're talking to. There are many aspects, of course, and like you mentioned, it's something people should master. This is a very critical skill right now. People should look on to actually learn more about copywriting. So
Uh,
yeah, definitely, Amarji, definitely.
but one more thing, which I really like about copywriting is, like, I think a true copywriter is someone who can take money from a stranger. It's very easy to take money from people who know you as a brand. You have created your brand. You just write any, ABC, and people will pay you because you have created a brand. But approaching a stranger sitting some in some other country, just reading your word, and he's like, okay, where is my credit card? Fuck, I want this. That's the power of copywriting. So the day you can do that, it gives you some other kind of feeling. Like I told you about, showed you some info products and things like that. It gives me great feeling. Every time you wake up and
You
you
do
see,
an experiment and you see it's working.
yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like today, Ghost of Ogilvy has given me some two orders. Just one mail. I haven't checked it, and it happened within what, probably 8 minutes. Right, I was just checking how many people opened it, and I saw, okay, there are two orders also. So no, that is something you love about.
Yeah, I think you're able to just showcase what you can deliver in your product. If you're doing a promotion, and if your promotion itself is not catchy enough, then how people can have an expectation on the product you're selling?
Right.
So maybe that's something very interesting, Raji. And actually, I came across and to know that you are also starting a group. I don't know if you want to reveal it now or not, but there is one group you are starting. Will you be interested, or will you want to keep it a secret for now?
No, so the group is open. I think, some people know about it. So the group is Brewing Copy. Anybody and everybody who wants to uh, write words that can sell anything, almost anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I mean, there's no such formula like I just tell you about IDA and pass, you write, and people will start buying.
The
You
pandas are always there in the market. Yeah.
Yeah. If you come with a mindset that you're going to spend at least 6 months trying to practice, you should write till your hand starts bleeding. Actually, right? Don't just So this is something I do every day. I wake up. The first thing that I do every morning is probably write 10 pages handwritten. Okay, I handwrite all good things that come to my mind. Maybe about a product, maybe these emails. Like today morning, suddenly, last night I was thinking about this PK movie,
Hmm.
and there is a scene where you remember how Amir Khan took all the knowledge just by
Hmm.
holding hand of that women,
Hmm.
and I thought that's a great angle to write my email, because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do hand holding for a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? So how do I use this particular thing so that people can relate to it, and then write my email? So I sit and write it,
Yeah, that
on a piece.
connectivity and you copywriting is like I've seen it's not just one thing. Many things you have to accumulate the stuff and make the connection happen there.
Yeah, right. Just like again, I showed you that U.S. Navy SEAL idea. It came because I was reading a book called Mossads, and it is about Israel, intelligence agency.
Okay.
Right? It's some top things that they were doing, and how psychologically they are influencing people in Egypt and other countries. They're trying to attack them so that they can have all this, information before the war. So it's a very interesting story, how Osama bin Laden was, actually caught. They were keeping an eye on him for almost 3-4 years, right? So
Yeah,
I try to read all this stuff and see how I can use this, relate all this to marketing, and then and like I showed you, I just send it on my emails mostly.
definitely, Amarji. I think we should have a detailed session on copywriting because there should be a lot to actually talk about it. So, yeah, for people who want to be a copywriter, I think just within these few minutes of talking to Amarji, I understood that you should be willing to read a lot if you want to write. Uh, if you want to write something.
It is because you get a lot of more ideas, right?
Yeah,
Storytelling. So
it makes more sense. It makes more sense.
I'm getting stories from these places only, nothing else.
You can connect the dots, or you can weave a story by accumulating different things from different this thing. Then you can make the story properly weaved.
Right.
Yeah, Amarji, we'll have this something on copywriting. I see that you are like your eyes shine while you talk about copywriting, and we'll definitely have one session. So, guys, this is the session with Amarji about know your niche marketer. So his niche is already clear. We mentioned it. So anything else, Amarji, want to add for anyone who is actually seeing this video to know about you? Any few lines you want to add? Like what is that?
No, I think knowing about me is not going to help people. They will eventually know me. But yeah, one thing I definitely want to add, and I wish I could force somehow, this thing into people's mind. If you want to tattoo it somewhere in your forehead, tattoo it. Get into a niche. This is the perfect time to get into a niche. And smaller the niche, I can give you thousands of examples of people who are in such a small niche, but they have a huge audience, right? They have huge authority now, and they are the only person who can do anything, with that thing. I know people who are talking about businesses of sports person, right? So we know about Sachin Tendulkar, we know about Zahir Khan, we know about, but what businesses they are doing and how they are growing those businesses. I know somebody who's just doing this, and he has probably what 1.5 lakh followers, and within seconds he can just do anything. He has a lot of sponsors. So many niches are there. You don't have to just stick to this. Real estate and Facebook, but get into
You
anything.
can go deep. You can actually create sub niches and much more
Yeah.
deeper. Actually, that's
So
possible. So giving that message is really, really great way to actually conclude the session. Thank you very much, Amarji, because niche is really important. That's the reason we are actually striving here. But niche marketers is a community where we are uh, trying to encourage people who want to get into niche, and also trying to get in people like Amarji who already followed his niche, already is doing that thing. So thank you, Amarji.
my pleasure. And one of the best examples uh, I can give again is hashtag magazine, the only magazine in India, which talks about digital, right? E-magazine. So that's the power of niche. Any other magazine that comes tomorrow will probably, will be the second one. You have already taken the advantage. So, the moment somebody talks about a newsletter, e-magazine, hashtag comes to mind. Imagine we have never even interacted, but I know about your magazine also, right? So this is the power of, small power of niche. So
Yeah,
thank you very much for, this talk and connecting. Look forward to have a lot of one-to-one conversations with you also,
sure.
and exchange ideas about emails and how exactly you started building that diabetes thing. That's very interesting. Health
Yeah,
thing.
that's I even sold. That's a very, very interesting story. I would like to tell. There's a video also I did on that.
Okay.
So let me conclude the session. So thank you, Amarji. Thank you for that.